Yeah.
All right. Did you play any instruments in school?
Yeah, I played the drums in 8th grade.
Oh, awesome. So we can call you Denny G.
No, that would be Kenny G. He played a flute or something.
He was saxophone. All righty. And guys, as you're coming on, I see that you both have your own name, which is awesome because sometimes it does get a little bit messed up. Make sure you change your name to include where you're from. So, for instance, you will see mine magically changes to John McLeod, Naples, Florida. All you got to do is click on the little 3 dots at the top of your box, hit rename, and then put your location in there so we can figure out where you guys are from.
Good morning, John. Hi.
Glenda, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm okay. Thank you. Yeah,
Awesome. Oh, yeah, it is morning out there. You're out in California. It's
that's right.
10 a.m. out there, or approaching 10 a.m. Awesome.
Yeah, it sure is. How's the
All right.
weather where you are?
You know, it's a typical Florida day, humid, 88 degrees, 90 degrees, somewhere in there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's just like Modesto. Modesto over here where my daughters live. It's about that same way. Yeah.
Now, do you guys end up getting thunderstorms at the end of the day?
No, not here, but down in Modesto, yeah.
All right, so where is Modesto in relation to, well, in relation to San Francisco?
Oh, it's
I know California's a big state, so I can only choose like 1 or 2 cities and absolutely not even come close to getting it right. So
it's,
I'm just going to,
close to Stockton. Do you know where Stockton is?
no, but you know what? I pulled up my magical iPhone. There's Modesto. Okay, so it's basically due east of Oakland and San Fran.
Okay, see, there you are. You're quicker than I am.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, let's add a bunch more sherries as everybody's coming in.
Anyway, it's nice to be here.
Awesome. Glad you're here. Guys, as a reminder, you're probably coming in as, if you didn't register, you're just clicking on the link we sent out. You're coming in as Sherry. So don't forget to change your name from Sherry, because I know that you're not Sherry. And put in your name and your location. And if you don't know how to change your name, it's just click on the little 3 dots on the top right-hand side of your box, unless you're on an iPhone, at which point I can't help you because I have no idea.
You don't use an iPhone?
I use an iPhone, but not for Zoom.
Oh.
Got to have the
Morning,
full
Denny.
screen.
Good
Yeah.
morning.
Good morning. How are you,
Nice
Glenda?
to see you. Good to be
Hi.
here.
Nice to be seen. We got 1 minute, maybe 2.
I see we got a couple new additions from down in Tucson. That's awesome.
Who's our Tucson folks? Who?
Nathan Blair.
You guys in a place where you can have your camera on? We're gonna have an awesome session today. I've got a bunch of things laid out here. Actually got an idea from our team huddle today that somebody came up with an idea of having interesting, challenging conversations. And so we always like to mix it up. We'll do some basic stuff too. And it'll be fun. So if you have your camera on, that'd be awesome.
Krista, where are you from? You're muted there, kiddo. Sorry. There you go.
My apologies. I just joined the Naples office in June.
Oh, you did. Wonderful. Wonder how I didn't meet you yet. So I'm going to go ahead and rename you. So, and if I did, I apologize for not remembering.
Al, you're not cooking. Get cooking again. All right, we got one, John. Let's get cracking.
Perfect. 1 o'clock. We are off and running. So what sort of challenges? Well, 2 minutes. What sort of challenges are you guys running into before we get into today's program? What are you seeing out there that you got some questions on?
I think analyzing like the stats on the MLS. So when I see my flex, right, and then I have the hot sheet. So let's say today, just from the whole central Jersey, I'm in New Jersey. I'm pulling it up. It's taking minutes to load, but from my memory, let's say there was 120 new listings, and then there was price reductions on, let me just tell you the actual numbers. So you have 98 new listings, and then price reductions on 40 of them. So really, how do you kind of frame that scope? And would you rather do it by week or by month?
Well, don't get too complicated with it, which is really tough for me to say because I love the analytics, I love the numbers, and if I went down that road with you, Denny would call me up afterwards and ream me out, so I'm not going to do it. What I will say is when you say you have 98 new listings and an additional 40 price reductions, what's the reality, guys? Denny, you can't answer. You know the answer.
It's like a whole bunch more new listings.
Yes, it's 138 new listings. Does that make sense?
That's a pretty good point.
I never thought of it like that.
No, I haven't either. That's a pretty good point, John. I'll give you a point for that. That is actually a good observation.
It's 138 new listings at that point, guys, because now they are looking at a different buyer pool than they were looking at before. Price reductions are the new termination and relist for a new MLS number. Reductions is how you're going to accomplish that now. So if you have a seller that says, well, there's only 90 new listings on. No, actually, there's 140 new listings on because of all the price reductions from people who didn't get it right the first time.
And then, and then we're actually under contract, but I have a seller. Okay, I'm not going to get into specific.
Okay, hang on, Leal, hang on. Let's go. We'll go to that next because John's want to take a couple minutes and see what's on your mind. So we'll do that. There may be somebody else wants to say, okay, I've got this going on. I just want to make one more comment on top of John's great comment. And if you just popped on, it was an awesome thing. You've got to, your new listings coming on the market, you've got to then add the price drops, price changes. So awesome. Here's what I want to say about y'all's question. You got 98 new listings coming on the market. You got 40 price adjustments. Here's what I want to have everybody understand about numbers. Write this down. Numbers are meaningless unless you compare it to something. So I weighed
Denny,
myself.
I love that, and hopefully we're going to role play that exact scenario today. Is that the one you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay.
However, it's I find it a lot of agents. You fall into one of two categories. John is in the category that he recites random number tables for fun. So he loves numbers. There's people out there that love numbers. Now you can count those people probably on one hand in the world. So understand when you're working with someone, most likely they don't like numbers. So if you use a lot of numbers, that's either because you don't know what else to say and most likely they're not listening, or you love numbers and you hope somebody else will. Use numbers like you would, I don't like spice, like what do you call those peppers, those hot peppers, those ghost peppers?
Habaneros.
Yeah.
Habaneros, yes.
Use numbers sparingly and make sure you have something to compare it to. All right, so we can talk more about that later. So that's one. I'll hang on to your seller situation. Who else wants to speak up? Hey, look, this is what I want to talk about. We won't wait because we're going to move fast. We got a lot to cover. Anybody have a hand up?
Going once, going twice. Sold. Back to Denny Grimes. Go for it, Denny.
So Yael, quickly describe your seller situation before we move on.
So we were on the market at 600 and we had like 5 showings in a month. And we had one buyer a week ago who put an offer. We're buyer seller sign and we're still in the market. But in 7 days, I had not one showing request. The 7 days before that, I had like one showing. My seller wanted 600. The attitude of the seller is very much, it's okay. Like if I would use the word unmotivated, like if we get the buyer at our price, because we need a 600, and if we can't get the 600, we won't sell. So I took a very hands-off approach in regard, even with marketing. Like I wasn't marketing the property. I'm like, we're at 600. You want our house at 600? You can have our house at 600. We're not selling it for anything less than 600. But then when I was having a conversation with the seller, they're like, yeah, our listing's expiring September 24th. And I'm heart palpitation, like, oh gosh, maybe I should have worked this listing a little bit more. So I'm just curious your take perspective wise of how much we should be working a listing when the seller is pretty firm on the price and not so motivated.
Okay, so fair question. I trust you understand the question. Let me ask you a couple questions. Quickly define what working the listing means.
Making Instagram posts, making beautiful Canva movies with pictures to post on your WhatsApp status, making open houses, telling people about it. That's what.
In other words, you're saying you want to do a bunch of cool things that makes the sellers feel like you're working. However, it's not going to make the property move. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that
She's asking.
It's okay to say yes, yeah. It's okay to say yes to that.
Yeah, basically I was saying we're at 600, take us or leave it. And I didn't do any extra work to move the property.
How many properties have you sold in your career that you basically put on the market and didn't do any extra work and they sold?
Half of them.
All right. Well, then why did they sell? Why did they sell?
There's a buyer who wanted it at that price.
All right. And so the ones that didn't sell, why didn't they sell? This is basic, you guys, and you're going to really need to drill into this.
Either it took longer to match up the buyer to the house. Sometimes it just took, the buyer and the house matched up like in a day or a week. And then sometimes maybe it took 45 days to match up the buyer seller. Maybe it took a price adjustment to match the buyer seller.
Why do homes sell? Somebody, you can't answer this. Why do homes sell? Somebody.
Price and
Price
condition.
and terms.
It's not condition, it's price.
Isn't it both?
No, it is not both. But case
Price
in
and
point,
terms, right?
you got to be pure on this, guys. Now, can condition influence the price? That's a big fat yes. However, have you ever seen an amazing model home? It could be in Southern Living or Architectural Digest, and it sits on the market and does not sell. It does not have a condition problem. It has a what?
Price problem.
Yes. And then you've seen other homes that look like a hoarder lives there, right? And it sells. They have a condition problem, but it's sold. So understand, condition influences price. However, if you have the right condition and the wrong price, will it sell?
No, but sometimes it's time. Like I find there is a time factor.
Well, that's something else here in a minute. Let's hear something else in a minute. You guys, this is kind of fundamental that I know we say price, condition, location. We can't change location. And we say price and condition. If you say that and a seller is tremendously overpriced, they may think, okay, what can I do? So help me, you guys. If you are on the sellers, somebody pop in here. Let's find out who's going to do it. Somebody pop in to be the.
I'm going to call one out for you, Denny, because
Okay.
we have a very esteemed guest who is in the lower right-hand corner of my screen, Miss Ackles, who will absolutely challenge you.
Not fair, John, not fair.
Listen, I did it to Christy last week. Welcome to the fire, baby.
Did you
I'm
get here
in.
by accident? Okay, Shana, you're the agent.
Okay.
So, hey, look, you know what? My house isn't moving. You had it on the market, you know, for a month. I've had 3 showings. What do I need to do to make this house better other than the price? What can I do?
So Denny, there's 3 things that are going to affect the goal of selling your house. It's price, condition, and location. So
No, she just said the antique phrase. Okay,
not anti-phrase,
that's so antique.
but does it work?
Well, okay, keep going. This is what I'm talking about. I don't care. This is a great conversation to have. I just want you guys to know condition has no flipping thing to do with it. It's all price. So, okay, well, we can't change
Well,
it.
but here, just let me see. So what I would say to a seller is, if you're not willing to change the price, what about the condition are you willing to change to meet the market needs?
Okay, this is where I wanted to go. Awesome. So, all right. So, well, we're at 600 and we're not getting any showings. And so what would you recommend I do?
So feedback on the house has been that the kitchen is dated, the bathrooms are small, and the flooring needs updating. Are you willing to put that kind of investment into the home to get the price you're looking for?
So I need to get rid of my shag carpeting. I thought that was coming back. I need to redo my kitchen and update the bathrooms.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so how much do you think that'll cost?
In this market, in the area that you're in, I'm looking at $75,000 to $100,000.
So if I put 75 to 100,000, I'm asking 600 now. That's going to be, I'll have to get at least $700,000 to break even. Would you recommend I do that?
I would not recommend that you do that, because I can't guarantee that the market's going to support $700,000 in the time it takes you to do the renovation.
Well, I can't, you said price, condition, location, so I can't change the location. And it take me $100,000 to update it. So you're saying price.
I'm saying price. I'm saying the easiest solution for you to accomplish your goals, Denny, is to reduce the price of the house.
Okay.
Somebody,
Now, so interesting, she went back to what we've been taught to say since we were babies. Price, condition, location. I just want you guys to understand that now there could be something if a seller is wildly, now Shana, you stay right on there because you've got tons of experience and an agent and leadership. And so if I want to see if I can have you drink the Kool-Aid as well.
Man, I was feeling rusty and you just put me on the spot. John, I'm going to talk to you about this.
No, you did great. So all right. If a seller, I'm asking you, and I want anyone can pipe in here, but ask Shana, if a seller is wildly overpriced, you define wildly. Will mulching the beds matter? Will painting the house matter enough? See, those types of things, staging, all that can help. It won't move the needle a lot, you guys. So when you say price and condition, there comes a point when you can only put a spit shine on a house so much, and then you're going to have to deal with what?
Price.
And if they want to walk down that road, that's fine. Here's one more thing that I want to ask you, Shana, is interesting. I'm glad you answered. We didn't rehearse this. The National Association of Realtors, and don't you hate it when they say realtor, and the National Home Building Association puts out something every quarter called the Cost Value Report. Has anybody ever heard of that before?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And you guys should know this. Here's what I want you to know. It lists all these different improvements based on location. Like, I mean, Shana's in Alaska most of the time, so a swimming pool doesn't add a lot of value. Maybe in Florida, Arizona, it does. Here's the interesting thing I want you to know, and this will be liberating to many of your sellers. When you look down that report, how many items, if it costs $30,000 for the kitchen, will give you a 100%, at least 100% or something greater than 100%? How many items? There's got to be 50 or 100 items. How many, Shana?
None. I mean, I don't think I haven't looked at the report, so you may call me out, but I can't, in my experience, I wouldn't advise a seller that anything's going to give you 100% return.
Now, I'm not talking about an investor that buys a beater and goes in there and then fixes it up and puts 100 grand into it and makes money. He made his money when he bought it, not the fixing up.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
not where he made his money or she made his money. Here's the thing on that cost value report. I think there may be two things. It was stupid, like small stuff.
Mhm.
Unless you can go and put the sweat equity in, unless you have a brother-in-law that's going to give it to you at cost for every dollar you invest to help that seller get the home ready, the normal seller, not the investor who bought it low, it'll cost, they will lose money to fix it up. They will save money to have a price adjustment and sell it the way it is. So I'm going to stop right there. Is there any conversation about that?
I think that, I think two things. The first thing, okay, so with the investment in the home, I showed a property and the pool wasn't, the pool didn't have a liner. So I suggested, so in a case like that, I would recommend the seller give a credit toward a liner for the pool as part of the package of the home. Curious your thoughts on that?
Well, a credit is what?
A price reduction.
There you go.
Got it. And the other thing was, there was like, a realtor put out like a 12-week serial on her experience as a realtor. And there was pushback in the magazine, how realtors push the prices up and we create bidding wars. And there was a lot of flack on that. And her response was so simple. It's like somehow in the real estate industry, supply and demand goes out the window, but with pricing, it's all about supply and demand. And that is 100% determine the value of the home. It's supply and demand. And that's how your home is going to, that's my 2 cents.
Mhm.
Shana, you had a quick comment.
Yeah, I think what you just said, I hear a lot of people doing that. Well, what if we give a credit for this? And what if we give a credit for that? And what I like to tell, my favorite script used to be, you're tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. In the end, the net to you is going to be the same. The question is, how long do you want to take to sell your house?
Not only that, think about eyeballs. Selling a home is eyeballs. And when you give a credit, that's in the comments. The price is still up here. When you can reposition, and just what John talked about, that's kind of a new listing. Now you're taking it down for more eyeballs. So the credit will never be seen unless someone happens to click on it and look at it. So go ahead.
And the other thing that if I were listing and selling in the market today, the other thing I would tell a seller is there's no more important time for you to get this priced as aggressively as you can, because the market is shifting not in 30 or 60 or 90-day runways. The market is shifting in 24-hour runways. And strategic, effective, aggressive pricing is the #1 key to selling your house today.
Awesome. Well, maybe we ought to do a role play around that, John Boy.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, we got 2 questions lined up, so Shannon, just be ready. We're gonna, call out our Alaska folk again, because you guys have a lot of sunlight and you're very awake at this time of year.
I'm wearing cashmere today. There's no more sun in Alaska. We're done. It's over.
Augustina, you had your hand up. What's your question, kiddo?
Thank you. Well, my question was more of a comment in that when you start talking to sellers to make improvements when they're overpriced, I have run into the situation where the seller is of the mindset, well, if I'm going to put $100,000 in, I want to increase the price. So what do you say to that?
Okay, so fair question. So let me just ask you a question, Augustina. So have you ever gone fishing?
Yes, I have.
All right. And so what if you saw someone with their fishing pole and they threw it and they casted it? They're sitting in the middle of the Walmart parking lot and they cast it on the parking lot and they're not catching fish. And they want to say, I'm not catching fish because my rod and reel aren't the right brand. I'm going to go buy a new rod and reel and new bait and come right back here and throw this bait right in the middle of the Walmart parking lot. What would you think about that person?
They're still casting to a 0% chance of catching a fish.
Now, is that an analogy that I just made it up, you guys? I mean, is that something that kind of drives a point home? Can you ask them a question that makes them silly? Like, okay, the guy just died, by the way. I think he died this year. The guy who played Big Fat Greek Wedding, his big gig was he'd like to spray Windex on everything. He thought Windex was a magic cure. There's people that, so I would just help them see the folly in that. So does that help you? Any comment on that? And I know, John, there's another question.
So Denny, first of all, having married a Greek woman, I can tell you Windex cures everything. So now back to now that we're done with the humor, Jesse down in Phoenix has a for sale by owner or a former for sale by owner that he listed, considering going back to for sale by owner. That is exactly what we were just talking about. So here's what it is. They started at a price at $790 in April, dropped it down to $745. The husband used to have his license. He sold 4 houses. And we're going to get into how you compare numbers and that sort of thing and why, anyway. He sold 4 houses.
You may have
so
to
he knows
mute
what he's
because your
doing.
puppy's barking.
I know my puppies are barking.
Oh.
Sorry.
So who do we have that would like to take that?
How about Jesse? Why don't you have Jesse be the seller, because he knows the seller and he knows where they're coming from. And Denny, would you please role play this for him as the agent and do the model so he can hear the model and how it's supposed to go?
Okay, so Shayna was right just a moment ago. I mean, pricing is always important. However, in the last maybe 18, 20 months, and I joke about this. I mean, we did our best to do a market analysis, right? CMA, I don't even like those letters. The sellers would use their Zestimate, and then they take the Zestimate and multiply it by their zip code, and that was their asking price, and they would get it. However, in a falling market, somebody tell me why. Somebody tell me why it's very important for us to be direct with them up front. What is the number one reason we should be direct with our sellers in the beginning? Unmute
Set the
yourself. Let's go.
expectation.
Pardon me?
Set the expectation.
Expectation, absolutely. And so what is the pain, you guys, or Jesse, what is the pain for a seller that's priced wrong, positioned, I like position better than priced, positioned incorrectly in a falling market?
They'll just be chasing the market and keeping dropping the price.
So yes, they're chasing the market. Let's spend a minute here. Let's talk about ways that you can build this picture in the seller's mind. Somebody tell me how you would, and we'll get into the role play here in a second. However, when we have a conversation, we always talk about, in fact, I'll show you this slide up here really quick. We talk about the picture they see.
Hey, Denny, just
Yeah.
so you know, your camera is not working. So if you're sharing a slide, it's as dark as it is at Christmas lunchtime in Shayna's backyard.
Okay. All right, you can hear me though, right?
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay, well, I'll just keep going, and then when I turn this over to you, I'll see about fixing that. How can you get the point across that if a seller does not act, it's going to cost him more money? How can you do that? Somebody give me, there's a bazillion ways to do it. We've got to point out the pain. They're not thinking about the fact they wake up every day. I'm giving you one right now. Jesse, every day you wake up, how does it make you feel that every day you wake up, your home is worth less?
I'm missing out on something.
Well, if that were the case, is it better to sell sooner versus later?
Yes.
There's two.
Are you still there, Denny?
No, I got it.
All right.
So can somebody else give me another way that basically you can get that point across to the seller? Anybody remember Slinky? Did anybody have a Slinky growing up, or were you deprived?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I still have a Slinky, Denny.
The only thing you can do is this, or if you happen to live in an area that has steps, and in Florida, we don't have many. Back when I had a Slinky, we didn't have any 2-stories. Who knows the Slinky analogy? Who knows the Slinky question?
You're gonna have to tell us.
Oh my gosh, okay. Who remembers Etch-a-Sketch? Okay, Shayna.
Downward pressure.
Yeah, it is.
Date me, Denny.
Shayna, you said you had a Slinky, right?
I do. Yeah, I did.
You ever play with it on the steps and you kind of
Oh,
go, do?
Yeah.
Well, once it starts, it's going to go until it hits bottom. However, if you want to catch the Slinky, you only have 2 options. What do you have to do?
Stop it.
How do you stop it? You have to get ahead of it or wait till it hits the bottom.
Yep.
That's the way our market's reacting now.
Mhm.
So you don't have to do anything. We can wait till it bottoms out.
Mhm.
So anybody have anything else? I'm going to do 3 minutes.
I kind of have a gritty analogy somebody shared with me in my office.
Okay.
They said that, you know, if you want to, let's say you have to amputate your arm, you know, it's a lot more painful if you have to cut this finger, then this finger, then this finger, then the wrist, then, you know, eventually down here when you have to cut up here. So each time it's going to be just as painful or more painful to cut each one of your fingers off and then your wrist off rather than just getting ahead of it and just doing the amputation of at the shoulder or whatever. I mean, it's kind of a gritty way to explain it, but
Hey, they're pretty graphic out in Phoenix.
I don't know. My military guys would love that analogy
Oh,
in Colorado. They would love it.
I like it. And, you know, the market could be bloody. So can I do, was Aaron I'm doing that with? Or Jason? Who was it?
Jesse.
All right, Jesse. You got the Biona, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you were, I'm sitting and having a conversation with you. John, can you just set up the timer for 3 minutes? Then we'll go
On your mark. Get set. Go.
So let me ask you, Jesse, you started at 790 and 745. What kind of activity are you getting right now at 745?
It's kind of slow.
And how long has it been at that price?
It's been now 2 weeks.
Okay. And let me ask you, what is the number one reason why you decided to sell unassisted?
Well, we wanted to sell it unassisted because we thought we can make more money without paying an agent.
And how much were you attempting to save?
Well, we thought when we were going to sell it originally at 790, we thought we were going to save about 30-40 grand.
Okay, and so I understand. So let me ask you then, you've got it now at 745. If I were to bring an offer that was acceptable to you, would you be compensating my broker for that?
Yeah.
And what, so you're okay. What percent, let's just keep it on percent. What percent are you willing, so you've got 40, are you willing to pay me $20,000 if I bring you a buyer that's acceptable?
Yeah.
Now, just give me these extra seconds back. And I didn't follow, I didn't go to the model because I only have 3 minutes as far as isolating. He wants to save money. I'm going to walk you through the model. For sale by owner wants to save money. So in his mind, if it's $40,000, if you take half of it away, now it's 20 because, well, that's great because according to the National Association of Realtors, and this is a statement, I'm going to tie it down, about 95% of unassisted sellers sell with the help of another agent. So do you at least agree that there's a 95% chance that you're going to have, if a contract comes in, it's going to be with another agent?
Right. It will be.
All right. And then, so what you're in reality are attempting to save $20,000. Would that be accurate?
Right.
So let me ask you, now it's on 2 weeks. How long are you going to, if the market's still saying no, how long will you keep it at that number if the market still says no to your number?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about going back to for sale by owner at that point because, you know, I don't know if I want to keep dropping my price. You know, my threshold was, you know, X amount, and I gotta make sure I net that. And, you know, any lower, and I don't feel like we're going to meet it. So, you know, maybe it is just best I go back to for sale by owner.
I thought you were one.
Well, I mean, again, if I'm listing with you at that point, you know, I think it'd just be best I, you know, just go back to for sale by owner.
And you would do that in order to save 20 grand?
Yeah.
And if you went back to for sale by owner, what would you list it at?
I'd probably list it at the same price at 745.
Well, if you were, do you think the market's working in your favor or starting to trend downward?
I mean, maybe I'd go down to 720, you know, to save that, make up that 20 grand difference, 725, something like that.
And, okay, so let me ask you this. If I could demonstrate to you, if I could sell your home for free, would you hire me?
Sure.
No, I'm serious. If I could demonstrate that basically I'm free, would you allow me to represent you to get your home sold?
Yeah, I mean, if that's a real deal, I mean, there's got to be a catch there, but yeah, sure. Sounds like too good to be true, but sure.
Well, if you ever paint a house?
Yeah,
You have to, I mean, anyone can buy a bucket of paint and paint, correct?
sure.
Now, can a professional do it better, faster?
Yeah, I would think so.
And so if a professional painter knocked on your door and say, hey, you're the lucky winner, I give away one free paint job every year, and it happens to be your house, would you turn down letting that painter paint it free, although you could do it?
No, I'd let him paint it.
So do you
4
mind?
minutes.
1 minute. Okay, so now I'm gonna go kind of fast here because I basically baited him with a question that it sounds too good to be true. It's not. So let me say, all right. So let me ask you: if you don't sell houses for a living, right?
Well, my husband does. Well, you know what I'm saying. Role playing, right? I mean,
I'm not asking any questions.
I thought I'm the wife here. Sorry.
All right. So your significant other is a. I'm all confused.
You guys know what I meant.
I get it. That's okay. So
right.
your significant other is a real estate agent?
Yeah.
And do they do that full time?
Yeah. No, they don't.
Okay. So that's kind of like a part-time painter, right?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
So let me ask you, is it possible that even with the help of your wife, that basically if you lower the price, you said you might go down to 725, that you might lower it maybe 1% too low? It'd only be $7,000.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
If the market says no at your number at 745, you said you'd go buy owner, maybe lower it down to 720. So that's a $25,000 reduction. Do you think maybe, because you don't do this every day, that you might lower it too aggressively by maybe 1%, $7,000 or $8,000?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just feel like that would be the approach if I'm cutting out the agent.
Well, I understand, but I'm doing it for free, right?
Mm.
So if you don't have an agent, how are you going to know where to lower it to? Is it possible that you could lower it 1% too low?
It's possible.
And then when you have the offer come in, I'll give me 30 seconds, John. When the offer comes in, it's most likely it's going to come in from another agent who's been spending time with the buyer, and then and they're really good friends. Is it possible, because you're negotiating against a professional agent working for the buyer, that maybe a seller like you might misnegotiate the offer by 1%? It's only $7,000. Is it possible because you don't do it for a living?
Yeah, it's possible.
So there's maybe 2%, 1.5%. That could be $15,000 right there, because that's the difference between hiring somebody who does it every day and somebody who doesn't. And okay, so when the inspection happens, is it possible, because you don't really know state law, you don't really know what you should do, what you shouldn't do? Is it possible a seller might be willing to fix something they really don't have to fix because they don't know how to negotiate in their own behalf, and it could cost you hundreds of dollars, maybe $1,000 or $2, right?
Right.
And what happens if the appraisal happens to come in low? What do you think the buyer's first? You see what I'm doing, you guys? I'm going to keep chipping and chipping and chipping, because I truly believe, and I want you guys to believe this down to your hush puppies. I want you to believe that a great listing agent is free to a seller. The first thing you have to do is, you got to cut out the buyer side. Now you're going to whittle away at the fee. I know I went a little bit over, and I've been doing a lot of talking, so let's spread it around, John. Any ahas on that?
Yeah, I was just going to go there. What did you guys pick up? Yael, your hands up. Go for
I
it.
had a question. So basically, what happens, you get the listing and you're actually wrong and he needs to price it at $699. So how would you handle that?
Is this the initial listing?
You know, you're kind of baiting him and showing him how you're free, and he's at the 745, and you do the 2% or whatever, the 20,000 buyer commission, and then you do the negotiation technique and you say, okay, I'm free. And now he says, hey, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm impressed with you. I like what you said. We decided to go ahead and use you. And now you sit down and you have a listing conversation and you realize that, let's say whatever, that the home is worth, you know, $699 and not $745. And he comes to you and says, well, I'm not happy with this. So how would you handle that conversation if you have?
Well,
You're going to handle it right up front. You're still in the listing consult, and it's going to you right back into smack dab in the middle of the model. So yeah, great. I understand that. If we can, to help me understand this, if we can list the house today at 745, are you ready to list with me?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, let me ask you, when we put it to the market and expose it to all the buyers out there, what happens if the market says no?
So we'll have to have a conversation and decide what direction to go into.
Okay. And you realize there's one of three things that's going to happen when your home goes on the market. Are you aware what those are?
Tell me.
Okay. We're going to have little to no showings. Which means that if we have little to no showings, we're probably off the mark. We're going to have showings and no offers, which means we're fairly close, or your property is going to be under contract. Which outcome do you want?
We want to get the house under contract.
Okay. So when we go to market, you and I don't control the price. The market does. What happens if the market says no?
So I'm going to circle back. I'm going to like loop and say, well, I really need 675. I really need to make 745 in order for me to make my next move. So I'm making it conditional.
Okay, great. And I love that. So you need 745 to make the next move. Tell me more about that.
We're going to Long Branch, and the home we don't want to make a lateral switch. We want to make a upgrade switch, and we're not going to be able to make that upgrade with getting that.
Okay.
Not getting our number.
So what I hear you saying, to shorten this up real quick, is if you can't sell it for 745, you're willing to stay where you are and not move.
No, because it needs work, and we
You gotta
really
stop. You got that question is spot on. You've got to take them to pain. What's the pain? Well, I need this to go there. So if the market says no, you're going to stay there. You're okay staying there the rest of your freaking life.
no, because it's gross and we want to get something newer.
Now this is tying into motivation.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're doing great, John. Just land the plane now.
That was just taking the logic right out of it. And so yeah, I understand. And what hurts more, staying there forever or biting a little bit bigger bullet now to get to where you want to be?
So now I'm going to loop it back, and I'm going to say, well,
You don't set it up, just do it. Just
okay,
do it.
I really don't want to move to something that's smaller than what we have now. So I'm not really sure. Maybe we will stay where we are, because why should we take a cut in square footage space?
Let me just say this. Here's the thing that you didn't do that I'm glad you didn't. This is what I was afraid she was going to do. I was afraid she was going to get in a tit for tat on the 699. I'm not bringing up 699. I'm knuckle bumping, taking the listing, having the conversation. If the market says no, and by the way, have the conversation, get expectations. And because here's what I want you guys to realize. You don't know what it's going to sell for. You couldn't tell me with 100% certainty it won't sell for something higher than 699. So why not give them the benefit of the doubt if they're willing to reposition if they have outcome 1 or 2? You'll lose the listing and you'll lose the war as long as they come up with a number and not you. Now,
Exactly.
You're not going to hear that in a lot of places, because they're going to say, no, you got to get the price right the first time. You don't have to, as long as you explain, like my dentist says, you got to get that tooth fixed. I didn't have to. He said, I understand. However, when that tooth decides to break, you're not going to be happy. Let them know that the market may be trending down. What happens when your neighbor goes on the market $40,000 less than you? Now, instead of $699, where the past sales have been, it's going to be $675. That's the pain point. Don't get into fist fights over them on initial pricing, particularly if they're setting it. Now,
It's all motivation.
So Shayna, now you've been around a long time, and what I'm saying is not traditional, and it's not even taught that way. So you want to push back on me on that?
I don't. I think you're spot on. I think we can use a lot of old school scripts, but I put in the chat box a bit ago, I think, and I used to say it and I still would, probably more passionately now, when I was being hired, what I would say is, look, you're not always going to like what I say, and you're hiring me to tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. And if your goal is to sell your home today, strategic pricing is the key to not chasing the market down. I think I wouldn't push back on you, Denny. I think the conversations that we have to have need to be more passionate about pricing than ever, because we don't have the room. We don't have the room in this market to make a mistake.
Yeah, and we can make a lot of mistakes when we go about pricing. However, if we can just set expectations instead of pricing, we will win, they will win.
And that sounded very dramatic and negative, and I don't intend for it to be, but I do think that we have to understand that, like, we have an opportunity to get ahead in this market. And if we don't have that mindset and we're not confidently communicating that to sellers, we're losing that opportunity. And I've been saying all year, the key in this market, the key in any market, but right now, the key in this market is confidence and skill. It's confidence and skill, because it's changing too quickly and there's too much going on. So skill, being on this call, kudos, why I jumped on, you know, what don't I know? But really the confidence around what you're saying, and the confidence around pricing, and the confidence around guiding them, even when we ourselves go, heck, I don't know what's going on, right? Like, there's days we wake up and look at the hot sheet and look at the market and look at the bond market and look at interest rates and go, I don't know what the hell's going on. But we have to overcome that when we're talking to sellers.
I think that's brilliant, confidence. And you guys, thanks for being on, because this will give you confidence. In fact, I'd encourage you to interact with us a little bit.
Hey, Denny, can I just sidestep just for a quick second? Because many people on here don't even know who Shana is. And
Sure.
So Shana, just so you know, she's not another one of us. Shana, take a moment to introduce yourself.
Oh gosh. Thank you, John. So my name is Shana. I am Kristen's business partner in Growthward Consulting, our coaching and training company. So I get to partner with KCN on and play with her leadership team and coach her agents. Our company does. Been friends with Kristen and Denny for, I don't know how long. Denny's my favorite bold coach. Yeah, I mean, and I honestly felt like, I hear about this call all the time, and I honestly felt like, what skills am I missing? Am I skilled enough in this market? Is my confidence enough in this market? And do I need to jump on here and see what's going on and see what agents are saying, and get some Denny in my life to make sure that as I coach people and I'm working with teams and agents on growing their business, that I can arm them with the right tools. So, you know, me being on this call, as much as I love the introduction, thank you, John. Even 20-ish years in the business and being dear friends with Denny and Kristen and a lot of industry thought leaders, I feel like I still need to brush up on my skill.
Love that. Thank you. So we have the owner of a coaching and consulting company who's on here to make sure that she's up to date. Love that. Thanks, Shana.
Yeah,
So Denny or I will buy the first bourbon in Scottsdale in September.
I'll send you my itinerary.
So John, we've got time for maybe 2 more quick role plays.
Yeah.
Let's do one.
All right, let's see. You know what, Denny, let's stick with there's 2 of them that I'd like to cover today. One of them we've touched on quite a bit, and I think we need to drill deeper, which is having 2 people role play price reductions on a stubborn seller.
Got it.
Every single one of us is going to run into it. So the first person to volunteer will get to choose whether you're the agent or the seller.
This is where you grow, guys. Come on, this is where come on, get on the dance floor.
I could be a very mean seller if nobody volunteers.
All right, we have a mean seller, Yael.
No, I'm going to let other people volunteer, but if we have no other volunteers, I'll be the seller.
Brian, come on, man. Are you not playing?
Always, I'll jump in and be the agent.
All right.
It's fine.
All right, so Brian, Yael, you pick it. You can be on the phone or the table, doesn't matter. You guys know each other. Price reduction.
Yo, how you doing today?
Do we have him yet?
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Do we have the other person?
Yeah, it's Brian's the agent. Yael is the seller.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, go.
Okay. Yeah, Brian, what are you calling about today?
Hi, well, I was just checking on the status of the house. How's things going?
What do you mean you're checking on the status of the house?
Well, okay.
I'm going to give you another start.
I didn't say that right, so let me start again. If
Let
that's
me,
okay.
hang on just 1 second. Follow-up calls to sellers are going to be real important. Here's the key. You got to have this listing form right here. So you go over it on the listing presentation, and then you set up the follow-up call when you take the listing. Yeah, I'm going to be calling you Monday at 4 o'clock every week to give you a report. Is that okay? Now, when you call, now you can say, hey, look, we have an appointment at 4 o'clock to talk about your home. Because when you say, when you ask about the status, that's the Brian, that was the start you want. Because this should be a pre-planned call every week.
Mhm.
So start again.
How are you, Yale? I was calling to give you an update this
Yeah,
week on the property.
Yeah, we hadn't had any showings this weekend. You didn't call. I haven't heard from you, so I was wondering what's going on.
Well, as I recall, this is the time I tried to schedule if that was off my mistake. But anyway, yeah, I want to talk to you about that. Why we're not having any showings.
Yeah,
have a
what's going
minute?
on? Yeah.
Okay, well, I think it's time for us to, as we discussed earlier, when I took the listing, I think it may be time for an adjustment in your position.
Okay, so what are we priced at right now?
$699.
So we're at $699. So
Yes.
you're telling me that we need to come down from $699?
Well, yeah, we've had it listed for 45 days and we haven't had a single offer. We've had a couple showings, couple phone calls. The market's telling us, it's talking to us. It's telling us we're going to have to make an adjustment.
Well, I bought this house for $650,000, and I told you that we put $200,000 into this house. So, I mean, for us to come down under $699, I mean, the pool that we put in was $100,000 for the backyard. So, I don't understand why we would need to lower our price. I mean, I think $699 is super low.
Oh, I can understand that, but it's not, you and I can't decide how it's going to sell. We can only we got to position it where a buyer is ready to come in and make an offer, and the buyers are telling us we're not there yet.
So what are you suggesting?
Well, yeah, my suggestion would be we adjust a little bit lower. We got to be current with the market. Otherwise, we're going to be chasing the market and you're never going to get the price you want. We're not even going to get close.
You know what? I think that the reason the house isn't selling is because you haven't been marketing the property properly.
Well, yeah, actually, we've got it out there. It's everywhere. It's yeah. As you know, go ahead.
No, thank you for playing full on. Al, thank you for not being Jack the Ripper. You were fair. So,
Denny, where I was going to try to go, Denny, was my next move was going to say, okay, Yale, let's say 6 months from now, we're sitting here having the same conversation. How are you going to feel about that?
Here's what I think it'd be easier for you guys to use. And this is why you've got to refer to this form. And I only take 2 minutes, John, so you can have the next one teed up and let somebody else go with it. Hey, Yael, it's 4 o'clock. It's time for our quick little update. Do you have your efficient sheet handy?
Yep.
Yeah. So we've been on the market now a week. And you see the 3 outcomes. Clearly, we're not the third one. Are we outcome 1 or outcome 2?
So I'm going to go to disappointment. I'm really disappointed at this. I'm really disappointed that that we haven't gotten what I wanted.
Yeah, I understand. I am too. I don't like the market when it reacts that way. So what outcome are we at?
Well, we haven't had any showings this week.
So that would be outcome 1, correct?
Yeah.
And we talked about this when we took the listing, and said if the market says no, then that would be low to no showings. That's where we are. Now it's been a week. And so I told you every week we're gonna have a conversation. And so right now, I mean, we've launched the marketing, and this is where you have this is how you head off the question. I don't think you've done enough. So let me give you a report on how the market's reacting to your home. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, so people shop online all the time. And so when people were doing lookups, there was 175 lookups in the last week that someone was looking in your neighborhood in your price range. 175 people had basically had your home come up on the list. And there was 33 people that actually went on the virtual tour. So you can see that we're already covering a lot of potential buyers. However, none of them have elected to come and see it. That's outcome one. So the question is, you know what the remedy is? Repositioning. Are you ready to reposition? Now, we don't have to go any further in this particular role play. However, can you see how you just ask the seller where they are? You show them how much activity you've had, other than just saying, well, we have it out there everywhere. You can give them concrete numbers, and I promise you, they will be shocked at how many people are looking at their home and saying no. And don't be, notice how I agreed with her. I'm disappointed too. It's a lousy market. I don't like the market when it acts like that. So hey, I'm on your side.
Right. I guess I feel like what are the the directions that you really framed the conversation and you had it set it up. But the seller can do a personal attack. The seller can do the seller can pull out different kind of directions to go at you, and it's just navigating. Are we I almost think responding to what they're sending us?
You have, this is where the confidence comes in, basically what Shane was talking about, where you could be upset with the doctor, but it's not rational. If the doctor's basically saying, look, this medicine may work, one of three things will happen if you take this medicine. If it doesn't work, we'll have to change it. So you go back in and see the doctor, it's not working. Okay, that means we have to change the medicine, which means in real estate, we have to change what? The positioning. The medicine's not working. We're not market sensitive. So why, and if you got upset with me, I would say, well, why were you upset with me? I mean, I'm the doctor, and I told you we have to find the right pill. So John, set it up. Let's go one more time on a price reduction. Let's get two more volunteers and see if we can follow that format. Thank you guys for that. Thanks a lot.
All right, Willie, I sent you a message. Are you up for it? Got to unmute yourself there, Big Willie. There you go.
I'm set. Yeah, let's do this, John.
All right, you are all set. You're going to be the agent. I love the energy. Awesome. Al, you ready to be the seller?
I'm ready.
You are ready. All right, stick to it, buddy, because you got to retire. You need the money. Make the call, Willie. Make the call.
All right, so it's me and Al, right?
Yep.
All right, Al. So I wanted to check in with you because, we really haven't had much.
Hang on, you're not checking in. When this is a set appointment, you're calling because this reason. They're expecting you. Hey, it's time for our update call.
Gotcha. All right.
There's a
Al,
purpose
it's time
for
for
it.
our
No checking
update.
in. Okay,
Gotcha.
start over.
All right, Al, it's time for our check-in appointment. How do you think your property's doing so far?
To be honest, I'm disappointed.
Me too. Me too. I thought the market would react a little different.
No. Then now you're predicting what the market's going to do. You can be disappointed, but now don't say that you're setting it up like you mispriced it.
Perfect. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm disappointed as well. How do you think we should move forward?
Go back, ask them about the fishing sheet. This is what I want you guys to get down. I'll coach you through this. You've got to be using that. Al, do you have your fishing sheet handy?
I do.
If they said no, get it. You've got to let them know every conversation.
Absolutely, Al. So do you currently have your 3 outcome fishing sheet in front of you that we reviewed on our listing appointment?
I do.
Great. Which 3 situations do you think we're in?
A little coaching here. You already know it's a little bit insulting. You say there's 3 outcomes, and obviously we're not in outcome 3. Now, if you've had no showings, I didn't do it right. If you have no showings, Al would probably in outcome 1, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But you might have had 3 or 4. You might have 5 showings. then I don't know if you consider that one or two. Let them decide. I don't want you guys deciding what outcome it is because they have to buy into it. So let's assume we had 4 showings in the last 2 weeks. Al, what outcome do you think we're at?
Well, we've had a few showings, but no offers. And I don't know. Can you tell me what we're doing as far as marketing the property again?
Marketing is in full force. The buyers have seen your property, and of course, they haven't reacted to the price that we're currently at.
Now, all right, so just as a review, now that anyone can say it, what data can you have ready on this call? You can look at the back end on realtor.com or Zillow. I don't know where to find it. Somebody else to help me with that. And how many people have clicked on it? How many agents have clicked on it? How many new listings have come on the market? Anything sell in that neighborhood? So you can go through stuff like that. You just can't make a statement. Well, we're giving it an old college try. No, have the data. Now you're credible. Keep
All
going.
right. Well, Al, so the back end on Zillow and all the data shows that we're getting multiple clicks, multiple views on your property. We've had 4 showings, so that tells me there's some interest. I believe that there's a chance that we could get in front of this market by doing a small price reduction to your property. How do you feel about that, Al?
I don't know. Why are we using Zillow, not the MLS? I mean, you were telling me.
That's just one of of course, the MLS shows numerous amounts of activities, and I have some agent feedback as well.
What's that been?
It's of course, it's a great property, but they all think it's a bit overpriced for the condition.
By looking at pictures?
No, that's the 4 actual showings that a buyer has entered your home, viewed it, and gave the agents their honest opinion in response.
May I add something here, John, really quick? I know, listen, if you send out feedback and you ask the other agent for feedback, do not ask them what they think about the price. That's one. Number 2, your seller should be getting, if you're getting feedback, like showing time or whatever you're using, your seller should be getting that feedback unedited, straight. In my opinion, I don't edit it. Everything I see, they see.
Yeah.
So if you're getting the feedback and you're not sharing it with them, that you don't have something working for you. That's why I take out the question, what do you think about the price? Because if there's an agent there that says, I think the price is right, that is basically going to be the next listing agent after they fire your butt.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So let's land the plane. Let's land the plane here. Keep going.
All right, Al. Well, in my consideration, I'd like to do a small price improvement and see how the market reacts. Is that okay with you, Al?
I don't know. What's a small price improvement?
You just painted yourself in a corner.
Okay, I might need some help on this.
Okay, that's right. Thank you for letting us help you on this. This is how we grow. If you paint a small price improvement, now you pinned yourself to what? Putting out a number. And then that is the same as giving him a price.
Okay.
So, John, you finish landing the plane there on that point.
So Al, are we at outcome 1 or 2?
Right now we're outcome 1.
Okay. And do you remember what we need to do if we're at outcome 1 in order to position correctly?
I do.
And what is that?
Do a price adjustment.
And what do you think would be appropriate given we're only at outcome 1?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, Al, it's really up to you. We've had little to no showings on the property. What do you think it's going to take to get to the point where somebody walks through the door and says, Al, here's a briefcase full of cash?
Well, you said we know we've had 4 showings. What other properties that we've been up against, do you think?
Exactly. Now you got to be careful because they're going to want our guidance here. Now go back to the past sales, bring up our competition, say, well, here's where they are. And so we're at 750 and they're down here. There's one 705. The rest are 680. So
exactly.
What do you think? So that's the conversation. If you,
So Al, your competition is between 680 and 705. Where do you need to be related to them?
I'd rather be closer to 7 than 680.
Okay. So would you be comfortable us reducing the price to 700?
Not really, but if you're telling me that's where we need to be.
Careful. Now, he's going to remember you said that.
Well, remember, he said closer to 700. I could have gone under 700.
I got it. So what does that mean to you, Al? What's closer to 700 mean to you?
No, 700.
All right. Well, here's what we know. I can tell you for sure at 700, one of three things will happen. Guess what the three things are, you guys? You already know.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
So before y'all log off, I don't want to be too lengthy here. It's 2 o'clock. Anybody learn something today? Did anybody hear something like, man, it was worth the time? This is what makes this feeds us. Share it with the group really quick. John, see if we can get 3 aha.
Denny, I tell my whole Lauhi group about this call. My mom's also a real estate agent. I told her as well about how informative and the confidence that you give me. And John, you as well. And Al, I'm going to tell you, that may be the case in my next phone call. And just that tough preparation that you gave me, I really appreciate it. But the biggest thing that I take away almost each time, only because I forget about it each time, is perspective. I mean, a dog catching, or a dog running, I don't know what the other person's dog is, where they're running. So I always leave these conversations and Zoom meetings knowing that perception is the number one. I have to perceive what they're perceiving so we can all understand and get to the resolution at hand.
Awesome. Thanks, Willie. Anything else? Anybody else? Shayna, it was a blessing to have you on the call today. Thank you. You flattered us with your presence.
And Shayna, the form you're looking for is in the chat. You can just click on it and download it.
Thank you. Thank you. It was an honor. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to come again.
Please do.
Glenda, do you have something to say? Somebody is saying something. Who was it? Last one.
I really like that. I like how John, I gained a lot from the class, but really, I thought it was masterful how we did the role play, and I'm going to re-listen to it. I also wrote down the steps for the for sale by owner. It's just like a series of questions, and we repeat it every week. But I went on a listing appointment with a for sale by owner. I flopped so bad. That I really, I'm more motivated. Like, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, like, if I consistently have these conversations, like, what's going to be my return on my effort? You know what I mean? Because right now business is coming to me, so I'm really responding, but it's nice to have the skills to really.
You'll be surprised the more you do this and just immerse yourself in these conversations. You'll be sitting at a listing appointment or with a buyer, and it'll just come out of your mouth and you'll be like, damn, who was that? Like, that was amazing. So just keep doing it. Like, practice here, best thing, because you'll absorb it and you won't even know it.
It's pretty cool.
And guys, remember, this will be posted on Denny Grimes Mastery Real Estate Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to go back and replay this because there was a ton of nuggets in here. Listen to it again, have a piece of paper and a pen handy so that way you get everything you need.
And I downloaded the impact report. So if you want me to post it in the chat, I could.
Oh, please. I was looking for that.
Yeah, go ahead and post that real quick. Yeah, that way everyone can pull it down.
Yeah, give me a sec. Hold on.
Thanks.
And it usually takes about a day or two, Jesse, for this to get posted up because our VAs take care of that. So I would say safely by Monday, you will see it. Make sure you're subscribed to the Mastery of Real Estate Facebook page. You'll get all the updates as they come on.
Yep.
I posted. I'm not sure if it went through. Do you see it?
I see it.
Okay. Yeah. I actually told people about the class also. So thanks, Denny.
You bet.
Thanks, Denny. Thanks, John.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, thanks for sharing that, Yale. That was a great file. Denny, why don't you bring us home?
Yeah, thanks so much for being on, really. And there's this is what it looks like, Denny Grimes Master of Real Estate, and we're working on that page. We're going to even work on, I'm going to have somebody, if you have some name you can give me, to chunk up these hour classes into about 8 or 10 minute little things that are more manageable. They don't have to listen to the whole class. So that's where we're taking this. And Shane, I don't know if you use that three outcome thing, but I think it's masterful. That I would love to see you teach it to your group.
Well, I'm always happy to steal things and teach them. So yeah.
All right. Well, you guys be groovy. We'll see you next week.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you guys. You're great. Bye.
Thank you, Denny.
All right.
Thank you, John.
Bye, Jeff.
Denny, thank you. John, thank you.
You bet, Kevin.
You were great as always. Hey, Denny, you have a second?
Yeah.
You know, you will remember this. In the 80s, they sold planets out in the universe. And I was always getting everyone was always saying in real estate, location, location, location. That was the 70s and 80s thing. And what I used to explain to them is that you cannot sell a house in Beverly Hills that was overpriced, or one of the better neighborhoods of San Francisco is overpriced. But you can sell a planet out in 100 million light years away. It has to do with price only. And no one ever understood that. Does that make sense?
Well, it kind of reminds me back when my kids were little, they had this company out there that says, you know, we'll name a star after your loved one.
Right. That's it.
Yeah. And yeah.
They were selling those faster than they were selling properties at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Kevin.
So that, I mean, that to me, that's why I always think, that's what I always think about, because it was always, if they charged $100,000, no one would have bought them.
Yeah. They charge like 50 or 40 bucks. You'd name a star after you, right? And make
Yeah,
it.
it was a great gig. Sure. So, but thank you and John and Sonny. You guys are always fantastic. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, buddy. See you guys.
Bye-bye.